Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Pacers Daily. I'm your host, Hery Acosta. Happy Thursday, everybody. Like and subscribe for more of this content on this channel. Let's hop straight into it. First things first, Malcolm Brogdon has announced his retirement. Now, Brogdon hadn't been a member of the Pacers since 2022-2023 season, but it's still kind of big news just because, he was only 32 years old. He was a former Rookie of the Year back in 2017, and he had his best overall seasons in Indiana. Obviously, he didn't win any awards in Indy, but he won that Sixth Man of the Year in Boston, Rookie of the Year with Milwaukee. But his best scoring outbursts were with Indiana. 2020-2021 season, he averaged over 21 points a game, almost 6 rebounds a game. Was always a pretty good player, but just can never stay healthy. That's kind of one of the main reasons that he ended up retiring so young, was just his injuries just kept piling up and piling up. And especially when he played with the Wizards last season, he barely saw the court. Same with the Blazers, barely saw the court. But Brogdon was always an interesting one because he played so well with Indy, but then once he left Indy, some of his best games were against us. Some of his absolute best games would happen against the Pacers. And, happy retirement to Brogdon. I know there's a lot of business ventures that he works with. If you look him up on LinkedIn, he's always doing something new. So congrats on your retirement. Congrats on a good career. Only one of the few, if not the only, second-round player to win Rookie of the Year. He also won Rookie of the Year, averaging the least amount of points and minutes of any Rookie of the Year. And that was in a draft that featured future All-Stars like Jaylen Brown and Brandon Ingram and Ben Simmons. But obviously Ben Simmons missed that rookie season. But, yeah, congrats to Brogdon. Next and foremost, we're going to talk about Halliburton and how the injury grief is really a big thing. And also kind of talk about, a little bit of how Pacers can really, play outside of that. But obviously, when this injury happened was one of the worst case scenarios. This happened Game 7 of the NBA Finals while he could have potentially had one of his best games ever. He already had 9 points. There was still in only 7 minutes, still a whole game to play, and obviously that injury happened. It's something, once you get a really big injury, especially one that you have to miss a whole season where you don't even get to play a game, the grief is very real. Now, obviously, I don't know from a professional standpoint, but from a injury slash, back when I used to play soccer in high school, I had a season-ending injury that kind of made me miss a little bit of a lot of time, and so I understand where he's coming from in that sense, but I don't really get it in the professional stance because obviously I've never been a professional athlete. But I guarantee it's 10 times worse just because there's a lot more at stake. There's contracts at stake. There's trades at stake. All these things that go into it when you're a professional basketball, soccer, football, baseball, whatever sport you play. One injury can really derail everything. Now, obviously, his healing is very good right now, and it looks like he's going to be ready for the 2026-2027 season. But obviously, we don't need him to rush back for any reason. And just the way to play around him is just everyone just steps up a little bit more. That's really it. No one really has to change their game too much. Nembhard really just has to be more of a playmaker rather than functioning as a shooting guard. And he's been doing just that. He's a guy that can get you 10 assists. He's a great passer. Now, the only thing we're really missing is Halliburton's size at the point guard because Nembhard is a little shorter. But great shooter, great defender, so what can we really do? Now, Jay Huff. Seeing how Jay Huff's been playing the preseason, I know he's not going to be the starter, but he should be the backup. Absolutely should be the backup. Now, there was some weird posts about rotations and stuff. Some posts had Wiseman as the backup. Some posts had Bradley as the backup. Huff is the backup. It's simple as that. We need a player like him off the bench. And even if he starts, he starts. He's a good player. Now, obviously, this is his fifth team in 5 seasons, so he has never really truly found a home. He almost found one with Memphis, and he was having a great season with Memphis off the bench. But obviously the Pacers traded for him, and now he's with us. He could end up becoming a very valuable role player with this team, and I think he can be on the Pacers for a while. And I'm kind of just talking about him now, so then I can talk about the rotation a little bit later. Just because I have a view on the rotation, how it could really go, but because McConnell is out for a month, that's gonna bring a lot of more people up. But with Huth, you know, good 3-point shooter, good shot blocker, can be a good rebounder. So just someone to look for, especially in that backup center role. Especially he could end up becoming a starter just because sometimes there's injury issues, sometimes some players not playing as well. So just look for that. Okay, so the starting lineup is pretty much set. Nembhard, Mathurin, Nesmith, Siakam, Isaiah Jackson. That's a pretty good starting lineup. Your bench would typically be McConnell, Shepherd, Obi, or you could even put Furphy in there. Furphy, Obi, and then J Huff. Third stringers, you got Quentin Jackson, you got Cam Jones, Ray J, Jarris, and just Tony Bradley or James Wiseman, whoever comes in. But you also got Talon Peter. You also got obviously TJ McConnell, who I don't remember if I mentioned him 2 seconds ago. But overall, this rotation can be as good as last year's, even with the new players that we have. Just as long as everyone knows their role and can play with that chemistry that we played with last season. Now, obviously, we don't have Turner. We're not gonna have Halliburton for the year. McConnell's out till November. We don't know when Shepherd or Cam Jones are coming back. But everyone just needs to know how to play together. That's really it. Our first game is against the Thunder, which will not be an easy game whatsoever. It's kind of crazy that they actually scheduled us against the Thunder first. But, that's just how it goes. That's just how the NBA schedule can be. It's how the NFL schedule is, how the MLB schedule. Sometimes you got to play reigning champions as your first game. But the Pacers can really do a lot of damage this year. Now, I think players like Cam Jones and Talon Peter are NBA ready. Now, it might take a little bit for them to really fully get everything together because they were second-round picks, so they weren't too highly touted, highly scouted or anything, But there are players that can do their work and get stuff done. And just with our centers, just make sure we have one healthy at least because, we tried out a lot of centers last year. Players like Moses Brown, Jahlil Okafor. So we just had a bunch of random guys every now and then. But as always, I'm your host, Hery Acosta. This is Pacers Daily. Boom, baby, and go, Sirs.